Hi, this is Melanie and Kim with Mediums 2. And today, while we are doing our normal recordings to put up on YouTube, we are recording our very first episode for our upcoming podcast. And it looks like we can run our podcast through YouTube. I'm hoping to be able to put it on Spotify, or I should say we are, but don't hold us to that. So as we go along here today, you know, this will be for our podcast audience as well. We'll try to remember that if there's any visuals that will that will be mindful of the fact that some of you are listening to this in audio only. So welcome to our first podcast and our continuing series for YouTube on all various topics, spiritual and beyond. Melanie, my dear, I'm going to turn it over to you.
So I've been noticing, and I've been having this too. What do you do when you're disconnected? When, you try to get some guidance and you ask so much and you ask, and then it's like, I don't know. Okay, so one thing that does happen, like I'm even starting to tear up, is that you just get in your own zone, your own mindset that nothing is turning out. I'm making the wrong decisions, and you're stuck in that cycle. And you're so stuck in that cycle. What can you do to get out of it? Well, it happened to me. And what did I do? I talked to I talked to Kim, and she helped me because if you have someone else who is, very in tune, uses their intuition a lot, and knows the things, they can almost like calm it down a little bit. And I'm going to have Kim talk a little bit more on the disillusion that we can be in, thinking that this is the right way. I know it's the right way. But then all of a sudden it's like, I don't know anymore. What did I just do?
Well, I think we all have off days. Well, let's say I know we all do. When when Melanie talked to me about some of the things, like she felt like she made all these bad decisions and they just, like one right after another. And, as an outsider looking in or hearing, somebody talk about the things they just went through and they felt like they made bad decisions and why did I do that? What caused me to do that? So on and so forth. And immediately what came to mind, it's so easy to figure out everybody else's problems other than our own. I'll say that right now. But when I was listening to Melanie, I just couldn't help but think that sometimes I think we trip up, we make a mistake, okay? And instead of just going back down and say, okay, I made a mistake, regroup, whatever, we tend to feel like, well, there's a reason why I'm constantly fumbling and making mistakes and, not doing this the best way that I want to. And it really does all obviously boil down to our mindsets. And the fact is we do have to give ourselves a little grace for messing up. We tried with good intentions, and if it didn't happen to turn out the way that we perhaps thought it should, therein lies the problem. You feel like, well, I made the mistake, so I must be on a roll of mistakes. And there you go. So
Exactly. So much on the role of mistakes. And then you're in that mindset, and then it's just going more and more and thinking, all right, this time I'm going to change it. I'm going to change the mistake. But how come I'm not hearing spirits talk to me? I'm going to change it, but I'm not. Wait, am I? All right, I must be more in my mind or something, because even if you try like the meditation and try to, and then sometimes it's like, nothing is coming through to me. And you just don't understand until you're in like a special place or you hear the music or something. But yes, I had one thing happen after another, and I know on how to use the intuition. I know on, I mean, I talk to my spirit guides. I can do this when I'm doing this for other people, but then on my own, it does sometimes get a little like, unless I'm talking to someone who does talks with spirit guides, and then they get me like, oh, yeah, it's like this. And something I even planned for a long time, and then it happened. I made the mistake on that too, on everything that was chosen, on a place I went to. So, I do feel though, around here, I feel energies at this time. I feel a chaotic thing, that sometimes we're just in this mind zone and we're not always listening. But then it's again, how do I listen? Well, there are certain exercises that we can do all the time. There's affirmations, there's different things that but when you are caught in that spiral, you don't want to go and do the affirmations. You just want to just bathe in it. And then the negativity goes, and then the negativity goes more, and then it goes more. And then it's hard to get yourself into that positive zone. Well, that's why we're doing this, because I experience it.
Yeah.
And, I want to have people where, okay, yeah, I know I'm going this, it's time to change this. And now I'm going to be in the present and I'm going to look for the future instead of, I goofed up, I made the mistake. How could I have done this? And that's what, like, sometimes I tend to do. And I'm going to have Kim talk a little bit more on this too.
Well, I mean, like we just said, I'm human too. And I know a lot of times Melanie and I have talked, we could have a fabulous reading with somebody and good things will come through, and you can see shadow people, you can hear voices, you can instrument your gifts to, in helping other people. And yet, despite all of that, you can still sit there and say, I can't do this, and I say that only because I think that's where the mind goes when you slip up on something kind of major that, we're not going to say what Melanie did, but I mean, hers was just the most recent case. And she was upset that she had made the bad choice, and it just seemed like, like we said earlier, you get into this role. So, how do you reconnect and reassess the situation, almost like, I think Melanie was talking about, like the reset button to stop the insanity. And again, I mean, I know this is probably sounding like crazy here because we're kind of going in different directions, but we're on the same path, that we do make mistakes and our mind does play games on us. And even though the truth, this is Melanie made a choice in good faith. It didn't turn out. So that should have been the end of it. She should have just accepted the fact, I goofed. Okay, I made a mistake. It was an honest mistake. But you start taking it personally and you start attacking yourself, thinking, well, I can't make decisions anymore. I can't read for anybody else. I can't do psychic work. I can't. And you actually start setting the stage. Now, I'm sure many of you already heard this, that, if you like the law of attraction type of a scenario, that if you think good things, they're going to come to you. You tell the universe, you tell God, you pray, whatever your faith is, that I want this. Like Melanie, she just wanted this whole scenario she was in to be perfect. And then when it wasn't perfect, then you start getting frustrated with the whole thing and think you're out of sync and out of balance and so on and so forth. And the truth of the matter is it's just you thinking negative thoughts, and you want to eliminate those negative thoughts, just like Melanie had suggested, if you're into meditation, or just simply stop and breathe deep and release it. and whatever you need to do, snap your fingers, give yourself a little up across the face, with your hand out towards your chin, and just tell yourself, hey, enough. This is nuts, just regroup, bring it back in, and start thinking positive, because the longer I'm on this earth, and I've been here a few years, I know you can't see me, but I'm not a young chick. You learn that it really is what you set your mind to. And even though you've set your mind, and as a spiritualist, you're manifesting good things, like, I want this dream, whatever, and it didn't turn out. But the idea is you set forth the positive energy, and when it didn't come back to you, then you immediately think something's wrong. Well, on the other side of this, I mean, if you want to look at it from a spiritual side or just another side, there probably were, if you look deep enough, reasons why Melanie made the choices that she did. And although she can't possibly at the time see that something, you know, something good could have come of it. Yeah, it could have. But at the time you couldn't see it. It's all up here, just like, thinking you can't do certain things. Yeah, you can. Yes, you can. So
Um,
I got a spun going here. Melanie saved me.
so, okay, so that people are wondering, what is this? I will explain to a certain amount. So way like in May, way long time ago, I did all kind of a research on a hotel, and it looked wonderful. And I thought it was a great place on a vacation I was going. And then in July, my husband had the heart dissection, I forgot what it's called, but all the problems with his heart and everything. And I didn't think twice because I wasn't sure if I could change things and even if we could even go. Well, we were able to go, and I thought this place was perfect, but unfortunately it was long walks to places that we needed to go to there by the water and everything else. And it was just nothing like we thought. It would have been different, of course, if this wouldn't have happened, but it still would have been a long, walk. And it's odd because I did all kinds of research and I'm thinking, okay, if I made this mistake, what other mistakes am I going to make in the future? Now, that's the big thing that is coming in my head. And that's the thing that I want to talk on because there is so much, as Kim was saying, on the negativity and the positivity. Well, I will tell you, when you are in that zone, at least for me, sometimes like I do readings and we do, mediumship and we do all these things, but when I am stuck in the zone, as much as I know and as much as I can do, I do keep thinking on the past. Why did I mess up so bad? Why is it like that? Everything. No, I know you're supposed to talk positive, but it is so hard. And it's like getting yourself trained is basically what it is, because you keep going as to every little detail that happened with me. I mean, everything was just, but then I'm like, okay, what positive things? We were able to see the water. What positive things were there? It's hard though when the big things are there, and then sometimes you get upset with your partner or your loved one or someone like that because it's like you need some kind of outlet, so then you got that to be upset about. Why did I go off on this? And then again, it's like I'm still working on trying to get over that incident on those days that we were at the hotel and just like, I don't know what to do. And then, so there's another thing too. People, then they'll be like, oh, well, money, I need this, that. And then, oh, I'll never make it. But then everyone goes, well, positive. Well, when you're in that zone, it's very hard to go and say, hey, I have money. I am rich. I can picture myself this. Oh, but then it's like, but I'm not. So I know that everyone hears, from very, very good people all over that they say these things. I go through this and it is a training method. And we do this actually, even though because of the fact that I've been through it, I go through it, and I know how to get out of it. And I know to talk to someone and I know to just push forward. But boy, sometimes you get stuck in that little hole and it is hard to dig out.
Yeah, I know. I guilty as charged. It's a fight. It's you feel almost as if some kind of an evil black blanket just is thrown on you. It's like so easy to give up when you feel like you majorly screwed up, or shoot, you could be having a beautiful wonderful day, and then all of a sudden it's like these nasty negative thoughts come to you, and you're like, well, where the heck did that come from? I mean, we're I guess what we're trying to bring out here too is just a simple fact. No matter who we are or where we are in the world, as long as you're alive in this realm, so to speak, however you want to look at it, we all have disappointments. We all make mistakes. We all have areas where, you know, it just didn't turn out like we'd hoped. Or, good old lack of confidence steps in there, or um, maybe I shouldn't be doing certain things, whatever, you could have. Why did I invite these people over for the holidays? Because we're going to just fight the entire time. We're filming this. We're recording this pretty close to Christmas, so that's why I bring that in. Whatever it is, you know, it you just have to stop, just like Melanie said. You just got to stop, take a deep breath in. Some of you don't know meditation. Those of you that do, we both highly recommend, if you can just find yourself a little quiet space and do that real quick and regather your thoughts, because whatever the reason is, I mean, I guess if we were scientists, or if we understood the science of things better or felt comfortable enough, we could probably explain to you why. But just trust that there's an easy way to defunk yourself and get moving forward and get off the train to negativity, and one feeling like you're just like you're tumbling like tumbleweed down the hill, and it just doesn't seem to get any better. You've got to regroup, reframe, rethink, reset, and move on, because it really is, it's like you can wake up and you can look outside, and you're in a fairly good mood, and you see, like right now, the sun happens to be coming in. Now it was dark and cloudy out, rainy, now the sun coming in. And you can look out there and you can see the goodness in the small little things. And yet on the other side of that, you can look out there and think, oh, I've got all these people coming for the holiday, I don't have enough food, I didn't do the tree right, Aunt Mary's coming over and she doesn't like fruit cake or whatever. It's like you're spinning yourself up into a frenzy. And oftentimes when you do that, mistakes get made, things get overlooked, you lose the joy and the happiness of the season, the time. And when Melanie talks about her trip, it was a big trip. It was something, like she had mentioned, they've been planning it for a long time. And to a certain extent, she was committed to it, to try to, the hotel anyway, to try to get a better price. And I know when I talked to her on the phone, back in July, that she talked about all the different options and why she made. And I mean, it all sounds logical. You can only do the best you can. But then tragedy did strike her husband, and thank God he was able to pull through. I mean, it was major. And
Yes.
yet she was fortunate enough that her husband made it through a surgery that not many probably would have made it, so there was, by the grace of God, he made it through. They got to where they were going to go. It's unfortunate that, for whatever the reason, the hotel wasn't what she thought.
No. And
But yeah, but go ahead.
it was because he has problems, with walking and, everything is a slower thing now. But it was, and, at that time I would ask the doctors, can he go? And they said, yeah. And I thought this is going to be just incredible. And then so many people, at the desk, then so many people, then I'm like, can you change my reservation? Can you change it? No, we'll come to find out now. If I would have talked to a manager, well, you never know that they could have gotten us closer, but when they tried to, I mean, everything just went bam, bam, bam in a very weird way. I'm not going to go more into detail, just saying that things just were not happening. And we were so, especially me, frustrated because I was the one that did all the work to try to find this place and thought it was incredible. And so when you do the research, it's hard because it's like, okay, is my mind talking? What is going on? Can I get some guidance or that? Now, for now, I did get guidance when I was a little down. There was a book in front of me, and I was like, oh, I could give this to someone. And then I open up a page like I always do. I'll do a number, and it goes affirmations. Goes get away from the negative. And I'm like, so this will happen when you go to books, and something was right in front of me thinking, okay, I could give this to someone. Then I did another one and the same thing. And it was all messages for me. And I'm like, okay, well, what do I do then? Because it was a journal and saying you need to program yourself. You need to write things down. You need to push the negativity out. And it's like, yeah, I know that because I that's what I do. I talk to people on it. But then sometimes, we can say all this stuff, and I do it for myself. Just at this point, I was stuck. And unfortunately, I was in this weird zone of, is anything good gonna happen?
I know. Like almost ruins your vacation.
Yeah, and I'm trying to
So
get back to a happy place and to what else can do in the future and think about the future and think about stuff going along that way, the future and the present instead of that past, which is hard sometimes because we're in agony and going, why is this going on? What's going on? What can we do? Tell me, please.
I know. Well, sorry, the sun is almost beaming me out here. So for those that can see on video here, no, it's crazy. I mean, this is a huge subject to try to undertake, but I think it just stands to reason, especially this time of year when we're all just going crazy with everything that's coming at us, making sure we got enough Christmas presents, everybody's covered, you know, people and politics and people coming to your home trying to be a good guest, or perhaps you're just gonna just be the two of you and you're wishing that family could be near. I mean, we're all in different situations, but no matter what, I think to roll it back around again for those of you who may think we are not making any sense here is you gotta always try to. I know it's easier said than done, but it really is important to try to see the positive in every situation, to be grateful for everything that you have. It may not be just exactly, and I mean, I think both Melanie and I can share many stories on situations where we're like, well, wait a minute. I wish something good like that would happen to me, or
Yes, so
you
much. Why is this happening to me? You hear something on someone, you're happy for them, but it's like, what is this happening here?
know, and then you feel guilty. It's like,
Mhm.
well, they deserve that. Yeah, of
They do.
course they do.
Yeah.
But you can't help but, think about your own lack and so on and so forth. So, gratitude, I guess you try to grasp it as best you can because obviously, gosh, where have we all heard this before? I feel like I'm a broken record. It could be worse. We all know it could be worse. And to be able to see and give thanks for the small things and appreciate what we have. And, I mean, not everybody could have a wonderful vacation like Melanie and Ray had, just where the location that they were at, it, so, they had to be grateful for that. It's just, we do get crazy things in our mind that we like to have a picture perfect for everybody, make everybody smile, make everybody happy, feel like, well, we don't get to do this every day. So, we really would like it to be extra nice and extra special and, all the bells and whistles and all the good things that could possibly come from. We just naturally want that to happen. That's just the way that it is. And when it doesn't happen that way, we get a little distorted with things. And, like I said, we all have good and bad days. And it's just no matter if you get bad news, good news, just give thanks every day. Try to get yourself around. In fact, it was funny while we were sitting here talking about all these scenarios, like having a lot of company over for the holidays and things. Um, somebody comes and they say something that kind of, you're rushing around trying to get everything nice, and then somebody says something that didn't quite hit right, and you're like, you're looking around going, boy, should I say something or just, you know, so those scenarios come up and it just think about this is just like, you know, some people say count to 10. Some people will say, well, just go turn around and let it blast, you got every right to say, or you could just let it go. Look at, that's their journey. That's what's going on in their life. Maybe they had a bad trip. You don't know. Maybe they were on a plane flying to your location and some little kid was kicking them in the back of the seat, I mean, you don't know. And
Don't,
sometimes we don't know if we're saying something that's offensive.
you
So
do not know. And the thing is though, on the grateful thing, so I know it's like, really? You're saying it again? So if you start running it down, you'd be amazed. Um, and I am saying like, I'm grateful for this pen. I'm grateful that, but here the big thing, that my husband is alive.
yeah,
I'm grateful that he had a great place that they took care of him. I'm grateful that we can be together. So there's so many things. I'm grateful I have food on the table. I'm grateful I'm able to have some kind of food, even if it's a bowl of soup or something like that. At least I have that. And then the little things, and then it builds up and it builds up and it builds up. And then if you go and figure out, well, the other things, oh, okay, well, I do have a lot. Why was I in this? Because you're stuck. And that's what it gets to. And I just wanted to really say on the experience and with that, if people are going through, and also how do you reconnect? How do you connect with somebody? How can you do this? If you're like that. And one thing I will always say is ground yourself and just feel the vibrations, and then just, I know breathing, sometimes turning on a faucet, having water by you, having that element. Sometimes it doesn't work and it's like, all right, it's not working. Then you just, again with the music or again with the writing, but the book, I couldn't believe that that happened. There are signs that are, and we have talked on signs so many times, that are just telling us this and this and this, even when we are stuck. And it's like, I'm not hearing anything from anyone because I'm not in the right like zone thing, I guess is the way to say it.
Very true. Very true. No, it's funny, even though Melanie and I have a great distance between us as far as miles are concerned, um, it's funny how a lot of times I will pick up things off from her and vice versa. And, it's tough some days to push off that energy, and just wish everybody the best because everybody's got a journey to live. We're all connected, yes. We all have a life to live. We all go through things. And, certainly you can have sympathy for somebody, but on the same token, you have to have self-care for yourself and not allow all this craziness sometimes to overtake you and overtake your thoughts. And I mean, I can actually have a really bum day if I feel like there's something really bad going on with Melanie. It's crazy. And you have to put all of that stuff in perspective. And for those of you that maybe have never embraced the idea of energy and picking up other people's energies, have you ever wondered why you might just be having, I should reframe it. You're having a wonderful day. You're out in the sunshine, everything's perfect. You can hear the birds singing, just everything is just the flow is perfect. And then all of a sudden, this negative Nancy thought comes to your mind, and you're like, where did that come from? You know? So, yeah, probably shouldn't get into all of that, but it is energies and it's learning to control all of these things. It's kind of like, to me, it's a huge subject that we're talking about, but there's a very simple answer, all of it. And if you can, I know, well, let me say this. To incorporate a habit into your life, it takes several days for it to take a hold. But once you understand what you need to do to get out of a funk or out of something where you feel like you just make one mistake after another, you can't do anything right, or if you've got lack of confidence, if you're a psychic or a medium or work with spirituality and you get these bouts of, well, I can't do this and I'm not good enough and I'm this and that, which I do believe, we're only human, it happens. Whatever the scenario is, you can bring it back around again. You can be positive. You can let go of things, like Melanie mentioned about grounding. Grounding is just you're not aware of what it is. It's just putting yourself down in, like think about your feet, on the floor, and that you've got, they talk about the roots going down into Mother Earth. Just imagine, you've got all these roots coming out of your feet, and you're wrapping around Mother Earth, and how solid and how protected you are in doing so. You're just bringing yourself back down again, because the truth of the matter is, we've mentioned this before, we are all energy. And sometimes we get kind of, spinning out of control. I like to think about that analogy. And sometimes we have to, like I keep mentioning, bring yourself back to center again and think about it in a little bit different light. And, if negativity, if nasty thoughts, I mean negative thoughts, when I say nasty, anything that's just not true to who you are, you've just got to stop and just imagine it being released from your body. Just bring it down through, send it down through, into the roots and have it dissipate into the earth. It's almost like a filtering, and then have it bring the good right back up, and do it as many times as you need. Just think about it in your mind. When you're busy running around making your holiday feast and you're mad at somebody for what they said to you, a relative, and you're like, how did you say that to me? So, just visualize that, or excuse yourself for a minute and go find a little quiet space, shut the door, close your eyes, and just breathe and ask for all this craziness off. Just get it off from me and bring yourself ground again. And then start back to the, because as I've mentioned before, and then Melanie, it's let you go some more. The longer I live here, the more I really do. You either think good things or you think bad. They're both right. It's what it's what you set forth. So, if you're constantly setting forth, oh, I can't do this, negative, what can I say? It's yours. So the decision is yours.
And now sometimes I will talk on what happened today. So sometimes you get confused on text messages. So she text messages, she goes, yeah, something's up with you. I'm like, I'm okay. And then I'm like, I'm okay. I said, well, okay, I thought I felt something. Maybe it's me. And I'm like, oh dear, did I just do that? I felt so bad because, yeah, I feel like sort of, but I felt a little bit better. But I did feel, and this morning again, but then uh, I had some help and I was able to boost up and feel better. So I'm like, I better explain because no, she did tune into me. And yes, I was feeling, sort of, but text messages you sometimes get confused on, and especially what we do because we're feeling on different people's things. And if I go, is something wrong? Are you okay? And they'll go, I'm okay. I'm like, all right, then what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
tuned in. I felt something. Okay, I could push this away, which you can, but then it's like, all right, am I just losing it then? So that's why I had to tell her. Yeah, she was right on. So
No, we live and learn. So, anyways, Melanie, was there anything more you wanted to?
just thank you for listening. And we are going to cover more things. We're basically on life, on intuition, on learning, on spiritual. Um, if someone has a comment on something, more on tuning in, maybe on how do you work with the cards, or is it just the spiritual? I do both. I'll do cards, but then I'll talk to them actually, like right now, it's because I am with her, but I feel them all around. Now I can feel them, so can she, when we're, by ourselves, and especially when we're doing readings, because I will explain the reason why. Because I am able to connect, she's able to connect very well. And when we have that, okay, it's not about us.
No.
It's not about me. I have my things, but I'm pushing that aside so that I can try to communicate with spirit and everything so that I can give them the messages that they want to hear. And so that's how that happens. And like with the readings, I push that aside. But then, when the readings are done and things, then those problems will slowly build up, and to be okay. No, I have no problems. Well, there are little things that are going to happen in life because it's life and things do happen, and there's things that we need to face. It's just, how do we do it? And there's so many tools and there's so many things. But again, when you are in that set or worry or something like that, it is so hard sometimes to get out of it.
It is. It is. And some people feel, that, well, it's just me. It's just me. And then it starts becoming chronic, and then it starts becoming a situation where you might need, medical help. You might need medications and things like that. And, we're not here, neither one of us can speak on the medical aspect of anything. We're just bringing out the fact that, it's true. I mean, some people just live under such constant negativity and sadness, no matter what, that no matter what their circumstances are, they could, be in great circumstances that people like us that, Melanie and I we're just everyday gals. I mean, nothing special. We don't live in a fancy castle or house or anything like that. We're just, we're mothers, grandmothers, your grandmother, I'm grandmother. I'm a great grandma, by the way. You know, we just look at it from simplistic terms, but the point being is that, people from all walks of life have different scenarios. And our whole goal here is, as Melanie talked about, the different topics and aspects to all of this. And we do try to touch on those that are, knowledgeable with intuition and spiritualism and so on. And those that are just everyday folks that are experiencing things and they just don't understand why. Maybe that we could reach somebody that would help them to understand why things are happening that make no sense, like, anyway, I get into a whole thing here, but this is our goal with mediums too. I mean, we are mediums, we do psychic work, we do have our divination tools that we use, and we can just do straight readings as well without them, with or without. But we just wanted to try to reach more people because the whole goal is to help other people. And I'm hoping that one of these episodes that Melanie and I can talk about our personal journey and what has brought us to where we are today and how we found one another and how we decided to create mediums too, and more about, you know, topics of discussion that we hope can be of help. But anyway, a lot of information we put out here just because it is kind of our first episode and another chapter with the YouTube. So, Melanie.
And I just wanted to put on, when I took on a hotel, there's nothing wrong with the hotel stay itself. It was just the walking and stuff that wasn't for me, and the long walks and stuff like that. So disclosure, it wasn't like, oh my goodness, this place, this or that. No, it was just not the right place for myself. So, but
And
yes,
we all
thank you.
make mistakes, but thank goodness you guys had a safe journey over, safe journey back, and we're able to enjoy as much as possible. And we're all grateful and thankful. And I guess, Melanie, if you have nothing more to share, we'll close this episode out. And we wish you all well. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye. If I can find this now, this is on Kim.